Hey kindergartners, I'm here to do some math with you today. Just like with Miss Dunn, we are going to work on Algebra 1 and 2, showing math stories and solving math stories. So today we are going to hear a new math story. We're going to figure out what the math is in it, and then we're going to pick one of our strategies that we've been working on in order to solve the problem. Remember that there's lots of ways to solve a problem, and it's just important to figure out which one is the just right one for you for each problem that we do. You could use objects. Sometimes you might use your fingers. Maybe you might draw a model. You might use a number line. You might use a number bond, or you might count on to help you. So here is our story for today. This is just a little picture to show you what I'm going to be talking about. So here's my story. There were some kids building some towers in the block area. First, they built 4 towers. Then they built some more towers, and when they were all finished, they had 9 towers all next to each other. I'll tell you the story one more time. There were some kids building some towers. First, they built 4 different towers. Then they built some more towers, and at the end, they had 9 towers. Let's think about the math in that story. What did I hear? I heard some numbers, and I know that that will help us. I heard that first they built 4 towers, and at the end they had 9 towers. I also heard the word some and the word more. Then they built some more towers. And I know that those are math words because they indicate that there's some amount. I also know the word more means that we're adding. We're making the number greater. The number that I don't know, though, is how many towers they built after they built those 4 towers. I do know how many they had at the end. They had 9 when they were all finished. So what I want to figure out is how many more they built. They built 4, then they built some more. How many was that? I need to pick a strategy that makes sense for me, that feels just right for this problem. One way that I think is really going to help me is a number bond, because I already know what the whole is and I know one of the parts. I'm going to draw my number bond, the whole and 2 parts. Okay, here's my number bond. Now, I do know what the whole is. I know how many there were all together, because in the problem, I heard when they were all finished, there were 9 towers. So I know at the end, all the towers together was 9. I'm also going to draw some dots for that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, there were 9 towers. I also know one of the parts. I know that the first thing they did was build 4. So I'm going to write a 4 there. I'm also going to draw dots to help me. 1, 2, 3, 4 towers. Okay, I know that there were 4 towers at the beginning. So now I just need to know how many more they built in order to get to 9. How many more they built? Well, I see this is the 5 group way, and there are 4 dots down here. Let's see, 4... 5 up here. I wonder if 5 is the other part. 4 and 5 more. Let me put it in there and then I'll test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 and 5 more. Okay, let me count my dots. That'll help me to check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I think I was right, because if I put 4 dots and 5 dots together, I get 9 dots. So I think they built 4 towers. Then they built 5 more towers, and now they have 9 towers. Oh, that makes sense. Just like the past 2 days with Miss Dunn, I'm going to leave you 2 problems, and you get to choose if you want to do one of them, the other one, or both. One of them will have smaller quantities, and one of them will have bigger quantities, and you can choose which one feels just right. Or again, you can do both. I have a couple pictures to show us 2 of these problems. Here is the first problem. Miss Dunn was writing letters to her family. I know that Miss Dunn really cares about her family, so maybe one of the ways she shows that is by writing letters. She wrote letters to 2 different people. Then she wrote and wrote and wrote. She wrote a lot more letters. When she was finished, she'd written 6 letters to people in her family. How many letters did she write after she wrote those 2? That's your first problem. Our second math story is about puzzles, because I know that Mr. O'Connor loves to make puzzles. So here's the second story. Last year, Mr. O'Connor made 9 puzzles. This year, he also made some puzzles. Altogether, he's made 16 puzzles. 9 last year and some this year. Altogether, there were 16. My question is, how many did he make this year? That's your second question. Just like we did today, we heard a story, we thought about the math in that story, and then we picked a strategy that would help us figure out another part of the story. You have 2 problems, one about Miss Dunn writing letters, one about Mr. O'Connor doing puzzles. You can choose which one to do, and you can choose the just right strategy for you for the problem that you choose. Good luck. We're really excited to see how your math brain is thinking.